Hey, what is up, guys? It is Slcmof here, back again with another video. And in this one, we've got to talk about Rocksteady's upcoming game. But first, let's try to get this video to 546 likes. If you guys don't mind, that would be absolutely incredible. It's a little bit of a New Year's resolution of mine to upload more into 2019, and your support would go a long way in kind of supporting that. So anyway, let's get into the video. We're talking about Rocksteady today. And first, I have to have kind of an addendum to last week's video, or maybe 2 weeks ago, talking about the leaks that Jason Schreier has come forth with. So I was tweeting, kind of covering his leaks, I thought, being virtuous, and he got really pissy at me on Twitter. So Jason Schreier, industry insider, he leaks stuff all the time. He since has come forward and said that the leaks that he had regarding the Justice League game, he's not even sure if they're right. So at first he kind of prefaces this page, so let me just kind of set the context here. He comes forward, he leaks all this stuff about a supposed game from Rocksteady, a games as a service, team-based game, superhero game. I mean, for all we know, it could be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He doesn't even specify because he probably doesn't know. So then we get into his post after the fact where he says, I don't want to leak this game because I have a huge amount of respect for Rocksteady and I really don't want to spoil it. Granted, this is the guy that spoils literally every single game in the history of video game announcements. Every single fucking game you could ever imagine he tries to spoil, okay? And then, after this, at the end of his post about how, oh, I have so much respect for Rocksteady, I wouldn't want to kind of let them down and reveal the game, they're working really hard, and I just don't, I can't find it in myself to do it, I just can't. And then, at the end, he's like, and also I'm not even 100% sure about what I reported on is accurate. And it's just like, okay, so all the beginning shit is just completely pointless. You just revealed to us at the end why you are not revealing what the game is. Because you don't know. You don't know for sure. He says he has a strong suspicion, but he's not 100% sure about his source here. Okay. So this is quite revealing, because in his initial tweet about what Rocksteady is doing, he says it's a games as a service model, and he says it's a team-based superhero game. In other words, it's not like Superman, it's not Green Arrow, it's not anything like that. It's a games as a service, which can sometimes be free to play, and it's like, we don't really know what it is. He doesn't even specify. It could be Teen Titans, could be Justice League, could be, who knows, Suicide Squad, who knows? He doesn't even specify. Now, Suicide Squad's not really likely, if I'm being honest. Justice League seems likely, and I assumed that that's what he was talking about. A team-based superhero video game. This is Rocksteady, a subsidiary of WB Games. I mean, it seems sensical that it's Justice League. So I tweeted this, and he said, I didn't say it was Justice League, which is fair. He did not say that, and I apologize, and I responded. I'm like, hey, sorry, you didn't say it was Justice League, so I didn't mean to, like, tell thousands of people that, you know, you said it was Justice League. So that was that. It was fine. And then I tweeted later, and I was talking about how the game is a games as a service and potentially free-to-play model. I said that the game is a team-based superhero video game with a games as a service, which he said, slash free-to-play model. And he responds, and he says, I never said it was free-to-play. I can't believe you're lying about me on internet, blah, 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 blah. And he got really pissy over absolutely nothing. And I did not say it was explicitly free-to-play. Games as a service and free-to-play are not mutually exclusive concepts. A game can be a games as a service model. Consider DC Universe Online. That's the kind of game that it is, and in that case, it's free to play. But not all games as a service model are free to play. So I put a slash there very particularly because I didn't say that it was definitively free to play, or that's what he said, but I said that it seems as though if it is a games as a service model and it's following line with previous DC titles, it probably is free to play. Now, once again, the reason he's been so defensive online is because he doesn't actually know. So, in that sense, I regret putting so much faith in this guy, because he since has come forward and said that he doesn't even know. He's like 90% sure. So, we've had Sefton Hill come forward and say that it's not Superman. That's reassuring or not reassuring, depending on what position you're at. So, it's not Superman. And also, I really don't see them going the direction of Green Arrow or The Flash. I don't really see it. And to be quite frank, even though Jason Schreier is very vague about this and probably doesn't know very much at all, he probably is right that it is a team-based superhero video game with a games as a service model, potentially where you could create your own DC heroes. I think Rocksteady, just being the studio that they are, I don't see them going away from a narrative type of game. this type of storytelling that has cutscenes like the Batman Arkham video games. I don't see them diverging from that personally. So, where does this leave us? I think the two main contenders we would have would be Titans or Teen Titans. Kind of a weird distinction between the two because they are distinctly different. Titans, I won't go, I mean, like, it depends what you're looking at. But anyway, Teen Titans, you know, Starfire, Beast Boy, those types of characters. I think that's pretty likely. It's a very popular group, especially among younger DC fans. I don't mean like 12 years old, but I mean like more recent, because the Teen Titan fan, you know, has gotten much more recent. Younger fans like myself, as opposed to, you know, in the 80s they were kind of emerging, but not a huge thing yet. But with the TV shows and stuff, they're a pretty big team, okay? But I also think that Justice League is honestly really the most likely. And if not Justice League, then just this kind of DC expansive, ambitious, maybe MMO, games as a service, maybe free-to-play type game. And maybe it could be kind of half free-to-play, which doesn't make any sense because something's either free or it's not, but, you know, listen to me here. Half free-to-play, but half is a subscription model. In other words, like, the game isn't a full-price $60 game, but it's maybe $20 or $30, and they have supplemental additional things you could buy. You can buy certain characters, buy customizable items, etc., etc. So, if I had to guess, it could be a DC Universe Online-like game with a little bit more of a structured story, if it's Rocksteady, and I had to guess. And that could be something that's really cool if done correctly. It could also be really, really lame. Nothing against DC Universe Online. It's an older game. If they're just making, you know, an updated version of that and calling it something different, I don't know about that. If it's, once again, a structured game that implements kind of dual play like features, and let's say this is a team-based game and we can play as the, you know, Teen Titans. Let's say we can switch between Robin, Starfire, Beast Boy, and you can implement and build upon the dual play features that they established for Arkham Knight. That would be absolutely phenomenal. I'm all on board for that. In terms of a DC Universe Online light game, you have to, you know, see it to believe it, I guess. Don't think it's super likely. But at the same point, this is the point that I've always made on Twitter, is why would you doubt Rocksteady? As far as I'm concerned, in the last decade plus, they've never made a bad game. Arkham Asylum, phenomenal. Arkham City, phenomenal. Arkham Knight, some people say not phenomenal. Overall, if we're considering it as a video game, it's still an 8 out of 10. Solid. It's a solid, you know, game. My point being is that Rocksteady is not the type of studio to release bad video games. Why would we assume that this game is going to be bad just because it's different than what they've done? If it is truly a team-based superhero video game, and let's say it's a Teen Titans game, let's say it's Justice League, that would be quite different than what they've done in the past. But I'm not, you know, if I'm a betting man, which I'm not going to bet against Rocksteady. That's the point that I want to make, is that they have a proven track record. They're a phenomenal game studio. They have great game developers. They're a small elite studio, I would say. When you look at other studios, 400, 500, 600 staff, Rocksteady has, you know, mid-100s, up to 200. So the kind of, you know, return on that is that they don't make games particularly quick, but once again, you know, WB Games Montreal has a huge staff, and it doesn't necessarily result in having a lot of games frequently either. So it's really about quality control, and I think that we see that among the DC video game brand as a whole. We heard about a Suicide Squad game canceled. This Damian Wayne Batman game at WB Montreal is almost assuredly rebooted at this point. I'm like, you can't be 1,000% sure, but it seemed as though that's the case. Now, with this new game, they may be taking certain elements from their previous idea, especially with the Court of Owls. It seems that they're doing with WB Montreal employees, teasing about the Court of Owls and that kind of stuff. But I'll get into that in a whole separate video. My point being is that, you know, don't bet against Rocksteady. And even though we're not 100% sure what the game is, you know, we've got to support Rocksteady. I mean, you really are going to surprise me if the game's bad. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, guys, I hope y'all have enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. We're going to be sure to end the video before the 10-minute mark. We don't want any of those extra ads. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, once again, give it a thumbs up. My name is Slcmof, and I'll see you guys in the next one.